Imagine this for a moment. In rural parts of Japan, many adults in their 70s still walk up hills to local markets every morning. In Sardinia, Italy, men well into their 80s climb stone steps daily without handrails. Yet in many modern countries, people begin to feel leg weakness, instability, and fear of falling soon after retirement. Same human body, very different outcomes. So the question is not, is leg weakness after 60 inevitable? The real question is, why does it happen so often, and what actually works to reverse it safely at home? Here's a statistic that usually surprises people. According to research published in the Journal of Gerontology, adults lose roughly 1 to 2% of leg muscle strength every year after age 50. But that loss accelerates sharply after 60 if the muscles are not specifically challenged. Walking alone, while excellent for the heart, does not provide enough resistance to stop this decline. Today I want to explain one simple, evidence-based, at-home exercise that research shows restores leg strength more effectively than walking, especially for adults over 60. And near the end of this video, I'll explain why this single movement has been linked to independence fall prevention and the ability to live without assistance longer than almost any other exercise studied. Let's begin with the least important concept and work our way to the most essential. The first thing to understand is why walking by itself often stops working after a certain age. Walking is a low-load, repetitive movement. Biologically, it primarily trains endurance, not strength. Your leg muscles adapt very quickly to walking, usually within weeks. Once that adaptation happens, there is very little stimulus left to rebuild lost muscle fibers, especially the fast-twitch fibers responsible for balance, rising from chairs, and catching yourself during a stumble. A study from the University of Maryland found that older adults who walked regularly but did not perform resistance-based movements still experienced significant declines in quadriceps strength over 5 years. The average loss was nearly 20%, despite consistent daily walking. The participants were active, but their legs were not being asked to do enough work to rebuild strength. This matters biologically because leg weakness doesn't start during walking. It shows up when standing from a chair, climbing stairs, or regaining balance. Those actions require force, not just movement. This brings us to the next level: why resistance matters more than distance after 60. As we age, the nervous system becomes less efficient at recruiting muscle fibers. That means your brain sends weaker signals to your legs. Resistance-based movements help reawaken those signals. Researchers at McMaster University demonstrated that adults aged 65 to 80 who performed simple resistance exercises at home improved leg strength by up to 30% in just 12 weeks, even without gym equipment. The instructions were simple: slow, controlled movements, limited repetitions, focused effort. Safety was critical. Participants were instructed to hold on to stable surfaces, move slowly, and stop well before fatigue caused form breakdown. Progression was gradual, often increasing difficulty only every 2 to 3 weeks. Now we move closer to the core issue: functional leg strength. Functional strength is not about lifting heavy weights. It's about whether your legs can support your body weight during daily life. Can you rise from a chair without using your hands? Can you step up onto a curb without hesitation? Can you lower yourself onto a toilet or bed with control? A large study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed adults over 7 years. Those who could repeatedly stand from a seated position without assistance had a dramatically lower risk of disability, hospitalization, and early mortality. The movement itself, standing up and sitting down, was one of the strongest predictors of long-term independence. And this brings us directly to the exercise that matters most. The simple at-home exercise that restores leg strength better than walking is the controlled sit-to-stand, also known clinically as the chair squat. This movement trains nearly every major muscle in the legs at once: quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and stabilizing muscles around the hips and knees. More importantly, it mirrors real life. Biologically, the sit-to-stand challenges muscle fibers under load while also engaging balance and coordination.
Ow.
It stimulates both strength and neuromuscular control, which is exactly what declines with age. A study from the University of Sydney found that adults aged 60 to 85 who performed chair-based sit-to-stand exercises 3 times per week increased leg strength by an average of 35% in 8 weeks. Balance scores improved by nearly 28%, and reported fear of falling decreased significantly. The instructions are straightforward. Sit on a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Cross your arms over your chest, or place them lightly on your thighs if needed. Lean slightly forward from the hips, then press through your heels to stand up slowly. Pause for a second at the top, then lower yourself back down with control, taking 3 to 4 seconds to sit. That slow lowering phase is critical. It's where much of the muscle rebuilding occurs. For safety, the chair should not move. If balance is a concern, position the chair near a wall or countertop so you can lightly touch it for support. Start with as few as 5 repetitions. Quality matters far more than quantity. Progression should be gentle. After 1 to 2 weeks, you might add 1 or 2 repetitions. Later, you might slow the movement even more. Some people eventually hold a light object close to the chest, but that is optional and not necessary for benefits. What makes this exercise so powerful is not intensity, it's relevance. Unlike walking, the sit-to-stand directly trains the movement that most often determines independence. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that difficulty rising from a chair is one of the earliest signs of functional decline. Improving this ability often leads to improvements across many other daily activities. Now let's talk about why this matters emotionally, not just physically. Loss of leg strength is rarely about muscles alone. It's about fear. Fear of falling, fear of being a burden, fear of losing the ability to live on your own terms. When people regain the ability to stand confidently, something changes psychologically. A study in Age and Aging Journal found that older adults who improved sit-to-stand performance also reported higher confidence, social engagement, and willingness to leave the house independently. This is dignity in motion. One woman in her early 70s, described in a Canadian clinical report, began with just 3 assisted sit-to-stands per session. Within 10 weeks, she could stand from low chairs without using her hands. She reported cooking longer meals, visiting friends again, and no longer planning her day around where she could sit safely. That is not a miracle. It is biology responding to the right stimulus. And this is why I saved this exercise for the end. Walking is still valuable. It supports heart health, circulation, and mental well-being. But if your goal is restoring leg strength after 60, protecting balance, and preserving independence, walking alone is not enough. The controlled sit-to-stand addresses the exact weakness that aging creates. If you are over 60, I encourage you to try this safely at home and notice how your body responds over the next few weeks. Move slowly. Respect your limits. Progress gradually. If this information was helpful, share your age and experience in the comments. Many people watching are facing the same concerns quietly, and your story may help someone feel less alone. And if you've already noticed changes in your leg strength or balance from simple exercises like this, I'd love to hear about it.